Unity. Hello, everyone. Hello. So please stand as you are able, and we are going to sing about joy because I've still got joy, and I know y'all still got joy, and that's what we're going to sing about. So I'm going to sing it through once, and then you can join me when you're able. Joy, joy, I still got joy. Joy, joy, I still got joy. Joy, joy, I still got joy. After all I've been through, I still got joy. Everybody, joy, joy, I still got joy. Joy, joy, I still got joy. Joy, joy, I still got joy. After all I've been through, I still got joy. Joy, 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 I still got joy. Joy, joy, I still got joy. Joy, joy, I still got joy. After all I've been through, I still got joy. Love, 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 I still got love. Love, love, I still got love. Love, love, I still got love. After all I've been through, I still got love. Love again. Love, love, I still got love. Love, love, I still got love. Love, love, I still got love. After all I've been through, I still got love. Let us pray.
And so breathing into the energy that's in the room, feeling our feet on the ground, I invite you to join me in our opening statement. There is but one presence and one power in my life and in the universe, God the good, omnipotence.
All right, we're going to go into this now with peace. So we can say peace. Peace, peace, I still got peace. Peace, peace, I still got peace. Peace, peace, I still got peace. After all I've been through, I still got peace. And joy! Joy, joy, I still got joy. Joy, joy, I still got joy. Joy, joy, I still got joy. After all I've been through, I still got joy. And joy, 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 I still got joy. Joy, joy, I still got joy. Joy, joy, I still got joy. After all I've been through, I still got joy. Please be seated.
Good morning and welcome. So let us begin first with affirming our mission statement. Together, we are a welcoming spiritual community thriving in the heart of Seattle, celebrating, inspiring, and deepening our individual and collective spiritual journeys. So I want to just call out a few things before we have our announcements. And so if you have a prayer request, and if you're joining us online, you're welcome to write that prayer request into the chat, and we'll pray for those folks after the service or towards the end of the service. And if you're here in the room, you can fill out a prayer request form that's over there on the counter, and the prayer team will pray with you throughout the week, and then those names go on to Silent Unity. So we have, for the first time this Sunday in quite a while, moved to optional face masks, which is very exciting to reach this point again. So it did happen before. I don't know if you remember that. But we are hopeful and confident that we'll be able to keep moving forward with this. We invite everyone to do what makes you comfortable. And so if you still feel more comfortable having a face mask, you're most welcome to do that. So along with that change, for the first time in 2 years, we are also having available after the service prayer chaplains, which is very exciting. And so our prayer chaplains are available to pray with you one-on-one, and Lewis Mason is here this morning to provide that. we have a guest speaker this morning, Reverend David MacArthur, who we're very excited to have with us. I'll be telling you a little bit more about him later on in the service, but I just wanted to call out that he's doing a special two-part class series mini workshop on Wednesday evenings on Heart Math, and he will speak more about that during his talk. But also just the synchronicity and kind of the small world of unity. So I grew up in San Leandro Unity, and that was the home church for my parents. And my mom, Carol, would drive over the foothills to Walnut Creek Unity, where Reverend David was serving, because she loved his classes so much. So during the week, she'd go over to join Reverend David. So it's fun for me to have him here because we have that connection of my mom joining his classes, I think, for a couple of years, several years. Sundays at San Leandro Unity and over the hill to Walnut Creek Unity to join Reverend David. So there'll be more about that. You can find out info on his event on our website. And now, for those of you online, we have a few more announcements. And if you're here in the room, I invite you to stand and greet one another.
Everybody, good morning. Isn't it wonderful to see each other's faces again? Oh my goodness, isn't that exciting? And now we have to come back to our chairs. I know. More hugs later. Thank you. And I just want to remind everyone who's over here particularly, but everywhere, we've got multiple cameras in the room. So just keep an eye that you leave the aisles clear so the folks at home can see us all sing and everybody can be together. All right, so this one is Everything That I Need to Know, we hope. And I'm going to swap out the words here a couple of times as I lead you through it. But also, we're going to keep taking it every verse. We're going to go up a little bit more. We're just going to climb to the heavens as we go, okay? Everything that I need to know about what lies before me, everything that I need to know about what lies before me is available to me, is available to me through the mind of God within me. Sing that with me. Everything that I need to know about what lies before me, everything that I need to know about what lies before me is available to me, is available to me through the mind of God within me. All right, take that up. Everything that I need to do about what lies before me, everything that I need to do about what lies before me is available to me, is available to me through the mind of God within me. All right, take it up again. Everything that I need to say about what lies before me, everything that I need to say about what lies before me is available to me, is available to me through Take it up again. Everything that I need to know about what lies before me. Everything that I need to know about what lies before me is available to me. Is available to me. 3 times. Through the mind of God within me. Do it again. Through the mind of God within me. Do it again. Through the mind of God within me. Wonderful. Let's all have a seat.
We're coming into a more contemplative part of the service that's going to include a silent meditation. And we've been going for 3 minutes. I'm extending it bit by bit. Today will be 3 minutes and 30 seconds. I know we can do it. Before COVID, I had more patients, and we regularly did 4.5 in the room, which is, it's a big deal to have a room full of, like, at that point, I guess it was like 75 or 100 people who could just hold still for that long, right? And then COVID came, and every place had to sort of shorten our expectations. But I think we're ready to go back to that slightly longer silence bit by bit. For those at home, again, I know that it's tempting to go off and do a chore or something, but this is truly your chance to share this moment with us and give yourself the gift of a full meditation. The song that we'll use to regulate our breath and take ourselves into this is a very old hymn, one of the ones that was in our old hymnal. Anybody remember the hymnal? Remember hymnals? Pepperidge Farm remembers hymnals. So it's a super old song. We're having our youngest team member sing it. This is Jen Gamble over here. And she's being assisted by another Jen, so you'll see this sort of beautiful connection of, yes, come into this, and just that process itself makes me very happy.
Sweep over my soul. Sweep over my soul. Come, gracious Spirit. Sweep over my soul.
Nice job, Jen.
Sweep over my soul. Sweep over my soul. Come, gracious Spirit. Sweep over my soul. Sweep over my soul. Sweep over my soul. Come, gracious Spirit. Sweep over my soul. Sweep over my soul. Sweep over my soul. Come, gracious Spirit. Sweep over and surrender. My heart is fully yours, caught in the moment, captivated by the unseen. Your loving heart for me revealed. Speak to me, let my heart be awakened by the whispering of love. Pull me close to your heart, let the silence now be filled with your voice. The words I hear you say, you've been speaking now for all of time, all of time. The words I hear you say, you've been speaking now for all of time, all of time. The words I hear you say, you've been speaking now for all of time, all of time. You're with me, you're for me, you have a plan for me, and I will never walk alone. You're with me, you're for me, you have a plan for me, and I will never walk alone. Speak to me, let my heart be awakened by the whispering of love. Pull me close to your heart, let the silence now be filled with your voice. Speak to me, let my heart be awakened by the whispering of love. Pull me close to your heart, let the silence now be filled with your voice. Filled with your voice.
We are blessed by our amazing worship arts team, yes? Yay! So it is my joy to introduce our guest speaker this morning, Reverend David MacArthur. He left his law practice to become an ordained Unity minister and has led dynamic Unity churches for more than 30 years. Reverend David also served as a director and trainer at the world-renowned HeartMath Institute. He has taught the transformative power of the heart to clergy from many different religions and denominations, from Unity's Silent Unity prayer ministry, its ministerial students, and hundreds of Unity ministers and throughout many different churches. David is the best-selling author of The Intelligent Heart and Your Spiritual Heart, and his new book, The Monk's Choice, has just been released, so watch for that. So please join me in a warm welcome for Reverend David MacArthur.
Oh, let me just look at you for a minute. It's so wonderful. And those of you online, what a treat to be together and to be in this amazing spiritual community. And in what exists in our worlds today, years of pandemic and watching as an invasion takes place in Europe, and we are connected closely to the people and the events unfolding there, and watching the turmoil within our world as we meet the difficult challenges. And all that's in addition to the stuff we used to have to deal with, family and jobs and healing. I got my healing thing going, all those things. And yet here's a group of people that are taking that step to understand and to actualize that what is within each of us is greater than that which is out there. That we have the full capacity to meet those things with grace, from a place of peace, and with wisdom. And that's, I think, what brings us together. All the things that you were singing about so beautifully. Yes, that's what we're reaching for. It's certainly been something that has motivated my life for many years. And in Unity, I found this beautiful understanding of our spiritual self and how we can make spiritual connection. And then I realized we weren't really very good at it. That when things got tense and folks got in your face, love and wisdom were not our default mechanism. And so I was curious as to why. And in my search, eventually it took me to the Institute of HeartMath, where I found some research that began to explain, in its essence, how we connect with the spiritual self quickly, powerfully, effectively, meaningfully. And that excited my heart. But spiritual connection it's a vague thing. So what's it really look like? Well, let me share an experience. This happened to my son Peter. Peter and his wife Julia live in LA, and Julia came home from work one day, and she was very excited. She just got an offer to go from a temporary position into a full-time position. This would fulfill the financial goals that they had, and then she got very upset. And it seemed as though this opportunity was causing her a lot of anxiousness. And as Peter listened, as she began to explain, yes, this was a great financial opportunity, but she was very aware why the position kept being open. And that was because of the dysfunction in the division. And, was it a real opportunity, or would she be stepping into something that was really abusive and unhealthy? And that anguish, as she wrestled with that decision, patterns of anxiety that she had dealt with earlier in her life began to come up. And of course, Peter's sitting there. Here's a person he loves with a great opportunity, and she's in anguish and struggling. And fortunately, he knew the answer. You see, Peter had joined my wife and I when we were at HeartMath, and he had learned that, okay, what the science shows us is that when you're in that stress and anxiety, that you have the capacity within minutes to completely transform the body so you aren't in stress anymore. That you actually go from anxiety and frustration to a state of peace. And And here is the thing that was one of the most exciting things for me. When that happens, you access a higher level of wisdom. Now, HeartMath explains that in biophysical terms, but we know what it is. We are connected with our spiritual self, and that infinite wisdom we have access to that is personal to us, to our lives, to what is taking place right there, that is available right there in the situation. And so Peter was all excited to help Julia with this, and then he remembered he had tried that before. And they'd come to an understanding that Peter could be her HeartMath coach or her husband, but not both. And so he thought he had to do that thing, and he began to get very frustrated because she was really in pain and anguish. And have you had someone in your life when they're in that struggle and that difficulty, and you see them going through it, and you want to help but can't? That feeling of powerlessness? So as the anguish and the powerlessness impacted Peter, he recognized, wait a minute, I can't do anything for her, but I can take care of me. And so he went through the steps that he had learned, starting with the simple act of connecting with his heart, just bringing his attention, touching the heart. Touch your heart for a moment. Just to see how it just moves your attention right there. Suddenly your attention's not on what's going on up here, is it? It's right there. It's right down here. And then he knew how from that point to activate the heart. Now the spiritual self is passive in our life until we call it forward. In activating the heart, we call that forward. And he was able to do that. And so he's sitting there, and within about a minute, he's not frustrated and he's not feeling powerless anymore. He's feeling peace. Peace is one of the things that we experience in our spiritual connection. When we lose that connection, the frustration, the anxiety, the confusion is what we experience without it. He felt that peace, but there was something else. He knew what to do. He knew how to respond to Julia in her anxiety. What he did was go up to her and say, would it be okay if I held you? She looked around kind of surprised, and after a moment said yes. And so he put his arms around his wife and just held her. And after a minute or two, there was a big sigh. And she said, thank you. And thank you for not saying anything. That had been part of the guidance. So he knew. Now what happens is that seems like such a simple thing. But it's the experience of being connected or not. Now, the truth is we can't not connect with Spirit. It's omnipresent. It is everywhere through our beings. But we can lose conscious connection to where it is directing our consciousness, our perception, our understanding of life. That happens. And to reconnect and have these beautiful things, the answers, the knowing, the joy, the peace. The steps to get there are fairly simple, but they take intention. You see, there's this strange setup. Now, I don't know if you remember, maybe back when, before you did the incarnating thing, this soul and not on your infinite journey. And you said, okay, I'm going to go do that humanness thing. I'm going to explore the third dimension. I'm going to get me one of those bodies and get to play in that third dimension for a bit. Well, when you made that agreement, part of what was in taking on the body, you got the dynamic through which you could interpret the third dimension. And the body has that. It's called the brain. It's the interpreter. It's how you figure out what this data is that's coming to you from this third dimensional world that we live in. Okay? And that gives you capacity of a certain kind of intelligence. But it is not the intelligence that you had before you entered in and got the brain. It is not that level of wisdom of the spiritual self that is hanging out in this body. That's a different thing. That intelligence, that wisdom doesn't come through your brain. It comes through your heart. Let me share another example of that shift from the head to the heart, from one domain of intelligence to a different domain of intelligence, from the way that we process and perceive the world when the brain is running our perception, and how we process and respond to the world when our spirit is in charge. This was a very simple experience. And what I find is I love the simple experiences of life. If I can do those, the hard ones aren't that bad. If I can't do the simple ones, the hard ones are just beyond my reach. So I find that the practicing in the simple is of great value to me. And this was just family stuff. My wife and I lived our family was in Boulder Creek, California, where the HeartMath Institute is. We lived off in a redwood forest with a long way out to the main highway. So the morning was our young teens getting all ready for school, getting in the car and getting down to the bus. If anybody thinks that's simple, you have not had children. Okay, so there's all these things to be gotten together. There's homework and clothes and breakfast and what you're going to do afterwards and so in order to speed that along and bring it into harmony, we used an affirmation every day. It was, hurry up or you'll miss the bus. Anybody here used affirmations? You know what happened. Yes, somebody forgot something. We got there, we get in the car, we drive down the road, we pull up onto the highway, and there's no bus. And we thought, well, maybe it's late. We're looking up the highway, and it's not coming. And the way it is in the forest where we lived, you can't catch up with it. It's not possible in those roads. So suddenly we're at this situation where, okay, the kids have finally done it. We missed the bus. I've got to get to work. I can't drive them to school. I was thinking about having them walk. Seemed like a good learning experience, except it's 8 miles to school, and that wasn't going to work. So I found myself in a state where I was, I'll say, upset with the kids instead of admitting to angry. And very frustrated. I did not have a good choice. I had no idea how to really resolve this that wouldn't create difficulty for some of us anyhow. And then I remembered, when I'm in this frustrated thing, I'm dumber. Now, that's one of the things I learned at HeartMath. You know, it's just the way your hormones work. Your head gets dumber when you're in that state. And I figured dumber was not a good place to respond from. So I went and did the heart thing. Okay, it took me about a minute. I, touched my heart, focused there, and then I activated the heart. Now, to activate the heart takes a heart feeling. Now, not all feelings. We have lots of feelings. Most of them are generated by the brain, not the heart. Okay, many of them make your situation worse. Okay, I was already in a couple of those. So I needed a feeling that is generated by the heart. One of those feelings is appreciation. Now, one of the things I could not appreciate at that point was my children. Would not work. Okay, so, but I was sitting there on the side of the road in a redwood forest in the morning with that beautiful sunlight coming down through those gorgeous trees. I could look up and appreciate them. They weren't late for school. And they were beautiful. And I could feel that. Now, I had to take and really focus a moment on the feeling, because it's not the thought of appreciation. It's not what you're thinking about. I've had lots of thoughts about redwood trees. They do not cause my heart to change. What causes my heart to literally change its functioning is the feeling. The sincere, heartfelt feeling of appreciation. Think just for a moment right now of someone or something that you really appreciate. Okay, just now, there's the focus, the person or something that comes to mind. Okay, you can feel that, and that's nice, but that's a thought. Go into the feeling of appreciation. That sense of awe, gratitude, that kind of upwelling of energy within your heart that begins to fill it. Feeling appreciation, a beautiful feeling. That is the experience of your heart. The heart feelings are a part of your heart. They aren't a side effect. They're a part of the dynamic of your heart. Okay? You remember somebody looking you deep in the eye and saying, "I love you with all my head"? Doesn't work. Time to end that relationship. Why? Because this is where we feel the feelings that are a part of the heart. Appreciation is one of the most powerful. And again, what happens is when someone is in the lab and all monitored up, or now you can get the monitors for yourself. When you go into that feeling, your heart changes. And in that change, your body, system after system changes. Your brain changes. The emotional processing within you changes. You go from anxiety or frustration to peace, just like you were singing about. Just like Peter experienced. And that's what I experienced there on that road. It took about a minute, touching the heart, feeling the appreciation, feeling it. And I felt peace, but something else happened. My awareness of the situation changed. We literally shift our perception because we are now seeing with what back in religious terms would be called the eyes of God, the mind of God. Okay, because your spiritual self is now directing your awareness. And so instead of children that didn't do what they were supposed to do actually became aware of them in a different way. I became aware of them as upset, stressed, having a challenging day before them. You don't think it's challenging to be a teenager in school? Wow. That's one of my objections to reincarnation. They had a challenging day, and I could help with that because I knew how to deal with the conflict before me. It was very simple. It wasn't simple when my brain was dealing with it because my brain was in its flight or flight attitude. But when my spirit saw it, it was quite simple. Take them to school. Okay? I could be late for work. I'm a very responsible individual. I've showed up on time lots of times. They're going to fire me. The world does not collapse if I'm not on time. But it would make a difference to them. And so I turned to them and said, okay, let's take you to school, but let's do it in a way so you can have a good day. I'm going to put on some music. You can relax. We'll deal with the getting to the car on time when we get home tonight. But right now, relax and let's just have a nice drive to school. And we headed down the road, and there were 3 people who felt in harmony and connected with themselves. The other way to go down the road was to not having made the shift and have 3 people upset, toxifying their system, and feeling resentful and not connected with each other. It's a different world. The spiritual terms for that are heaven and hell. But we don't need to go there. Spiritually connected. It's really quite simple. There is a feeling that causes the change. Now, the feeling I've been sharing with you is the feeling of appreciation, but I've also noticed this past week that I've gone to a different one, so I'd like for you to consider it. Because as I've looked at the experiences of the invasion and the suffering of people there, there's another very powerful feeling of the heart that causes the heart to change its pattern. The heart changes its pattern, it changes the brain, it changes the body. We are spiritually connected. That feeling is compassion. Okay, you can't do anything about missiles and guns, but you can touch the world with your compassion. Okay? When your family members are upset or afraid, you can touch them with the power of compassion because we connect spiritually when we are in this state. What the term that HeartMath uses is the state of coherence. The change within the pattern of the heart from incoherence to coherence, from disorder to order, within the brain, from disorder to order, from incoherence to coherence. The scientific term is coherence, the spiritual term is connected, spiritually connected. So I'd invite you this week. I'm sure we'll all get a chance to practice. Spirit has never let me down. It's always brought plenty of frustration into everybody's life that I ever address. So I'm guessing there's going to be some show up. And we get to make that change, that choice. I choose compassion. I choose compassion. Say it with me. I choose compassion. Again, I choose compassion. Touch your heart and just feel that shift as we do this. I choose compassion. Remember, it's compassion that's deeply felt. I choose compassion. when we do this, it is not just us that moves from disharmony to harmony. It's the world around you. Because in spite of the data that comes in through this third-dimensional instrument, we are not separate. We are creating together for that choice that you make to create through compassion. Thank you.
One, two, three, four. Oh, ready to receive the love of God. Ready to receive the love of God. Receive and reflect your love. That's what I came for. I'm ready to receive the love of God. I'm ready to receive the love of God. Ready to receive the love of God. Receive and reflect your love. That's what I came for. I'm ready to receive the love of God. My mind is clear and my heart is open. I'm laying it all on the table. Ready to receive the love of God. Ready to receive the love of God. Receive and reflect your love. That's what I came for. I'm ready to receive the love of God. Go, Tony. My mind is clear and my heart is open. I'm laying it all on the table, ready to receive the love of God. Ready to receive the love of God. Receive and reflect your love. 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 I said receive and reflect your love. Receive and reflect your love. Receive and reflect your love. That's what I came for. Amen. Amen. Amen.
Thank you, Reverend David, and our worship arts team. So we come now to that time to give of our tithes and offerings, and if you would like to give via text, it's 206-350-8448. You just text the amount you want to give, really simple. You can also give through our website at seattleunity.org, and if you're here in the room, there is the donation box over there for cash and checks, and yes, we lovingly also accept cash and checks. So we are most appreciative. So please join me now as we bless our tithes and offerings together. I give willingly, joyfully, and lovingly, knowing that God is the constant source of my supply. I give with graciousness and receive with gratitude. Amen. So just a reminder, Reverend David does have that class series happening in the next couple Wednesdays. We are about walking our talk and practical spirituality. So if you want to put some of these practices into daily use, we invite you to join Reverend David, and that information is under events on our website. And also, our prayer chaplain this morning, Lewis Mason, is available to pray with you. If you have any prayer requests and would like one-on-one prayer support, Lewis will be over at the back of the room, and we invite you to join him. And so now I just invite us as we join together in prayer for those who have requested prayer to just center again in our hearts. And so taking a breath, bringing our attention down to our hearts. And we call forth divine order, healing and wholeness, guidance and prosperity for Linda, for Mary, for Sharon and Jenna, Sophia and their families, for the people of Ukraine and the protectors, for the people of Russia, American journalists and all who are there, for everyone experiencing transitions and change, for Tara and Sue, for Cora and Lynn, for Becky and Marie, just taking a breath. We hold in light and love David and Sandra and David and Dick and Donna and Anja. And if there's anyone else you know in need of prayer, a person, a place, a situation, I invite you to speak it out loud or hold them in your heart. And we are grateful for that presence of God working in and through the lives of each one. And so now let us close together with our prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. I am light. The love of God enfolds us. I am love. The power of God protects us. I am power. The presence of God watches over us. I am presence. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.
It is the truth. Thank you, Heather. Stand as you are able. Let's sing a closing song together. And this one, if this is your first time, and that's always, if it's your first time here, you should give yourself a special, award somehow. Oh, also, it was daylight savings. You know what? Everybody in this room gets an award, except for the people showing up right now, and you get a special blessing. There are people at home who are just tuning in, thinking the service is starting right now. Your day's going to be great. I'm going to bless you, especially. We let the love wash over us. We do this physical thing, and it's as though we're dipping into the air, the love that is all around, like Reverend David was talking about, and then we're washing ourselves with that, and then we come out and we're like, you know that fresh out of the shower feeling, right? That I smell so good. Let's try that, and also sing to each other if you can.